So, Counselor, your housing bond is fully committed, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you're making the choice as a council to issue new bonds for the zoo rather than to issue new housing bonds?
We're making the choice as a council to keep taxes steady. So if we were to reissue, or if we were to go out with a new housing bond this year, that would be a bond on top of the other bond. So yes, the bonds are fully committed. They're not going to be paid for until 28. We cannot renew a bond until 28 for housing.
You could issue a new $380 million housing bond this year, or you could issue a $380 million zoo bond, is that correct?
And not change the total tax, yes.
So you're putting the replacement of the infrastructure at the zoo ahead of building new housing for humans?
We're committed to taking care of the zoo because at the core of how Metro was founded 40-ish years ago, the zoo was one of our responsibilities. So we are committed to doing what we need to do to take care of the zoo, while at the same time we are committed to making sure that we find revenues. And you yourself have heard all of the conversation that's going into how we are potentially going to use revenues from supportive housing services to make sure that we have 0 to 30 and 30 to 60% affordable units.
I'm well aware of that endeavor, but I think it's clear that you're putting this as a higher priority than issuing new housing funds. You could issue housing bonds, or you could issue zoo bonds. You've chosen to issue zoo bonds.
If the voters elected to do that.
Pardon?
Yes, you've chosen to give the voters.
He's asking
this
about the
choice as
referral,
opposed
and yes.
Yeah.
So why? Why is the zoo a higher priority than housing people who are sleeping on the street?
Housing people who are sleeping on the street is absolutely a high priority, and it's where
the zoo is higher.
Housing people generally is what takes up the bulk of my time why I ran for office. The opportunity here was to be in the position to refer bonds that we've been working on at the staff level and community input level. Over 1,000 people run into that master plan in their work. And so they came to us on a 2-year cycle. If we've done this, time to go.
I'm sure all that's true. I just want to be clear that you have made the zoo a higher priority than housing.
I don't look at it that way, but...
How could you not? I mean, you're not referring a housing bond. You're referring a zoo bond.
Yes, and meanwhile, I'm working really hard to provide guidance for how we move forward as a region with 3 counties all working on their supportive housing services measure, which is ample resource to do what we committed to do in the services sector for the people sleeping on the street and at risk of becoming homeless.
If you refer that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an if, and I'm full foot on the pedal for referring.